The Arca Racing Series comes to Pocono, and there's been a youth movement in this series. Young drivers trying to make a name for themselves, learning from one of the best of all time in Frank Kimmel. But even Kimmel has to be impressed by the numbers Ty Dillon has posted to start this season.
Standing on the gas is Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon wastes no time.
He has a .500 winning percentage.
Nobody is going to stop Ty Dillon.
He's only been out of the top 10 twice all year.
Dillon holds on for the win. Win number 4 for Ty Dillon, and he did it on the restart.
He's won at super speedways.
Kimmel through the travel. Here comes Dillon at the stripe. It's Ty Dillon winning this one.
He's won at the short tracks.
The Arca Racing Series makes it back to Lucas Oil Raceway, and Ty Dillon will go to victory lane.
Ty Dillon has been a dominating force in the Arca Racing Series.
8th career win in the Arca Racing Series, coming in your points leader, and he will pad that lead once again.
But can he dominate on the tricky triangle?
That's the question we're going to answer today. Welcome to the Arca Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Pennsylvania Arca 125 from Pocono on speed. Overcast skies. Last time we were here, it was fog that was the problem. Today, 75 degrees and cloudy. This race scheduled to run on Saturday. It's now a doubleheader run on Sunday. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons with you for this, the 13th race of the Arca Racing Series 2011 season. Now, earlier in June, it was a longer race. This race actually ends up being longer because they thought they were going to race yesterday.
Yeah, and only a 50-lapper. Now, there's a lot of talk in the garage area that, you know, these guys can go around 40, 42 laps on fuel. These are bigger fuel cells than the Cup cars have. So they're talking about possibly running 10 to 15 laps to get in their fuel window. This is a lot shorter race than we normally run here, so there's a lot of strategy going on. But these guys have had to think about it for almost 24 hours. They were all set to go yesterday, and now they got to... Now they're worried. They've been worried for 24 hours.
Well, Bob, I know one guy who probably feels pretty good is the guy starting up front, Bob Dillner.
That's right, Max Gresham, just 18 years old. He won the Menards pole presented by Ansel, and he is antsy to get kick-started here today. Max Gresham, I just leaned into the window and he told me, man, it's been so boring just playing the waiting game. He's very excited to go after this one, and he knows the guy starting on the outside of him on the front row is his closest challenger today, Ty Dillon. But 18-year-old Max Gresham from Georgia thinks he can get the job done. He's looking for his first ever super speedway win in Arca, and he's hoping it comes today at the Pocono Triangle.
Thanks, Bob. Bob will be a busy man down on pit road today. We want to take a look at our point standings. Again, through 12 races of the 19-race schedule, Ty Dillon has been dominant, Phil. We saw earlier, he's won 50% of the races that he has started.
Really an incredible season, and you see 9-time champion Frank Kimmel 370 points behind. Ty Dillon added to his point total by qualifying in the second position. Arca awards points for qualifying. He got 10 more points. But Frank Kimmel right now is just about 2 full races behind Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon's worst finish this year has been 11th. He did that twice, but he also has 5 wins already on the 2011 season. Green flag about to fly in Pocono. We'll see it when we come back here on Speed. Coverage of the Arca Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Sunoco, the official fuel of the Arca Racing Series and fuel provider to 40 other racing series. By the new low-rise collection from Fruit of the Loom. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Want to take a look at our starting grid for this race. Max Gresham grabbing his 2nd career pole. And a really good qualifying effort by Gresham.
It really was. It was 11 thousandths of a second faster than Ty Dillon. I was standing when Max qualified, and you could see the look on his face. He wasn't overconfident, but he thought he might have that thing. Max beat him by 11 thousandths.
Tim George Jr. will start on the inside of row number 4. He was the last winner at this racetrack.
The 9-time champion Frank Kimmel starts back in row number 6 along with Chad Hockenbraugh.
Tom Birdie in that 35, another Venturini Motorsports entry.
There's Bill Kimmel, Frank Kimmel's brother and crew chief's son, Will, in row number 9 here in the 68 Menards car.
Brent Brevac of the Brevac family. It's been involved in racing for so many years. Starts on the outside of row 12.
Our 45-time Daytona winner, Bobby Gerhardt, will start back in row number 11.
Nick Igdalski, he's got a relationship here at the racetrack. The grandson of the, well, they used to be the ones who ran this, and they just retired.
Benny
The
Chastain will start back in row number 16. Bob Shack actually qualified that car. Benny will be reverted to the back of the field.
For our thoughts before the green flag come out, let's go to Bob Dillner.
Rick, I want you to keep an eye on the 55 car, the guy starting on the outside of the third row, 18-year-old Kyle Fowler. Very good this year in ARCA competition, especially in qualifying, but he had some transmission problems the other day. That team had to take the transmission out of the car, completely rebuild it, and put it back in to retain that 6th starting spot. So a lot of questions on the start and restarts today for Kyle Fowler, but he's hoping for a great finish here today at Pocono.
He's got a great guy up on the pit box with Billy Venturini giving advice to all their teams. Green flag in the air, we're underway. Great restart on the inside. That Camry of Gresham able to jump out in front of Ty Dillon as they go into turn 1. Tim George Jr. working the bottom of the racetrack. 12, Mary-Eve Defoe on the outside, working up through the back of the field.
Remember, Tim George Jr. won this race back in June, the fog shortened race. This is a short race, 50 laps. We went even shorter on that one.
An overcast day here, but again, a lot of the rubber that was on the track earlier when they were supposed to run this race yesterday washed off because of the rain. Ron Cox in the 28 slow on the racetrack.
Max Gresham opens up a little bit of a lead over Ty Dillon, about a 10.5 right now. What a great qualifying session. A good battle between those two cars for qualifying. Chris Buescher right now holds down that 3rd spot. He was able to get by the 08 of Casey Roderick.
The top 5, Gresham, Dillon, Chris Buescher, Casey Roderick, and Grant Infinger.
Top 6 all staying together. Chad Hockenbrough holds down that 6th spot. There's Tim George Jr. Oh, trouble already.
Going into turn number 1, the 59 slides over the wall, jumps over the wall, and is going to hit on the other side. How about the 59 of Buster Graham leaping that wall?
Remember how much rain we had here yesterday? That's what postponed this race till today. He picked up speed when he got in the grass.
And what a great thing that car was able to stay on all 4 wheels as it leaped over that inside wall, that inside barrier where there wasn't a safer barrier. So it actually ended up helping him.
You see the 3-car Brent Brevac also involved there. What an incredible ride for Buster Graham. There's Brent Brevac's car.
Short day for Brent Brevac in that 3, but the window net is down. A great sign as the safety crews will get to these cars. And again, all of the rain that we had yesterday is going to make this area, this grassy area that all these cars are stopped in, as we see the 7 of Brandon Kidd also stopped on the racetrack.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Brandon's car. It looked like that car picked up speed when it got in the grass, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look like it was almost accelerating as it was sliding sideways. Another one of the Venturini Motorsport cars, Tom Birdie in the 35 involved in this one. I mentioned all that rain is going to make it difficult for the safety vehicles to get to these cars in the grass.
Let's see what happened here. Something happened to Tom Birdie there. He turns into Kyle Martell in the 43 car, and you see the smoke. These guys had no idea. Watch Buster Graham, the left of your screen here. That is amazing that he leaped that 3-tier guardrail.
And then
just about went back over it on the other side.
On the other side, just about got back over it, but it was caught up. Again, Tom Birdie, hard left turn to make contact with some of the other trucks or cars, and amazingly over that guardrail on the inside of this racetrack.
That looked like a high hurdler there.
Yeah, a very good one, actually. Here's another view. Look at how high that car was up in the air.
You see the access road. Look at the 7 of Brandon Kidd. He got up in the air. That access road really caused those cars to get up in the air.
Launched the 59 and the 7. How about that? There is Buster Graham climbing out of that 59. What a wild ride he will be able to talk about at Pocono.
A little bit. Looks pretty good there. Wow, that was an incredible. Look how tall the guardrail is. They just jumped over. That's what that car jumped over.
That's over 4 feet tall, that guardrail, and those guys jumped over it, but the car flew over it. Getting the drivers out. Take another look at what just took place. Again, the 35, hard left turn right there.
Watch this now. There's the 59. Freeze it right there. You see that access road right there. That's what that's gonna launch him over that guardrail. Right when he hits that, just barely even touches the top of the guardrail.
Dirt flying everywhere, dirt, mud. The 3, the 7 of Brandon Kidd also launched into the air. That race car.
From the same access road. I think that's something maybe the track officials will look at after seeing this incident right here.
Again, something happens. There's Tom Birdie getting out of his race car, walking back to the ambulance. They'll take a ride to the infield care center to be checked out. But Tom Birdie, something happened with that race car. A hard left turn before they got to turn number 1, and that caused this. Buster Graham launched into the air in the infield at Pocono. Timing is everything in television. Wednesday night on Speed, don't miss an all-new episode of Dumbest Stuff on Wheels. The most outrageous and downright stupidest situations, crashes, and mishaps ever caught on video. And we may be able to add this to that show. Again, that's Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
On a completely unrelated note, we just had a situation here at Pocono Raceway that I think we could use some of that video, although this was not intentional. Most of the dumbest stuff we see is intentional. This certainly was. There's Buster Graham's car, number 59. Watch. Tom Birdie, top of your screen here. Freeze it right there. He just turns dead left right there. And he gets into the 43 of Kyle Martell, and that just creates a smoke screen in front of these other cars. They turn left to try to avoid him, and somebody makes contact with the 59 of Buster Graham. He hits the access road and launches over the 3-tier guardrail, as well as Brandon Kidd, the access road, getting him way up in the air.
Yeah, it was Brandon Kidd that got into the side of the 59 and altered his direction, but the 59 goes over the wall. The 7 is off to the right of that shot, and it also gets probably 4 to 5 feet up in the air as it was launched off that access road as well. Here's another look. This is where Brandon Kidd, look at how high that car is. In the 7, Brandon Kidd flying through the air. Tom Birdie also getting some air in that 35.
You see Tom Birdie, all 4 tires locked up and not even slowing down. The conditions are so wet here from the rain we had yesterday.
Arca is saying that they're going to leave that car there for now. It's completely out of harm's way, at least unless we have another Dukes of Hazzard incident where someone flies over a guardrail, which unbelievable. Phil, I mean, you've been in racing a long time. Have you ever seen a car jump over a guardrail?
Well, we saw Cale Yarborough back in 1965 at Darlington clear the guardrail and go outside the ballpark, but it's been a long time since I've seen something like that happen.
What I used to call sprint car races, dirt sprint car races. Every now and then there'd be a tumble and one would go over the fence, but never have I seen anything like this. A stock car sliding sideways, hits the access road, and launched over 5 feet into the air over the guardrail. They're cleaning up the rest of the race cars. They're lining them back up. We'll go back to racing when we return to Pocono. Wednesday night on Speed, 4 car fanatics face off in the wildest car competition ever. Don't miss an all-new episode of My Ride Rules, Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Wildest car competition ever. I think we're coming close to it here.
Been pretty wild here
it
so
has
far.
Been wild. We're under a caution because Tom Birdie in the 35 took a hard left turn, made some contact with another car before they got to turn number 1. And that is the results. Buster Graham's 59 up against the guardrail. This is what took place.
See, Tom Birdie turns hard left into Kyle Martell. These guys behind them, because of the smoke, can't see anything. Look like the 7 of Brandon Kidd and the 59 of Buster Graham get together, and they both get airborne. Buster going over a 3-tier guardrail. Unbelievable.
Brandon Kidd also flying about 4 or 5 feet up into the air. Probably a good 60 or 70 feet. He traveled while he was airborne. And right behind him was the 35 of Tom Birdie. That's the view you see from Brandon Kidd flying through the air in the 7. Birdie also airborne as they went past across the access road. And then while we're under caution, the 15 of John Blankenship loses the left rear tire. We're under caution.
Yeah, he must have come on pit road and then came back around and made it another 2.5 miles coming back down the front straightaway. His left rear tire comes off, passes him.
His left rear tire went quite a bit further than he did. He decides to take the U-turn, go back onto pit road to get another left rear wheel put on that race car.
He's going to make a U-turn here on the pit road, going the wrong direction.
And the tire will continue.
It's going to end up again against the inside guardrail.
We've seen some incredible things already, and we're only 11 laps into this race. On the initial start of this race, Kyle Fowler in the 55 passed before the start-finish line, so the ARCA officials are going to penalize him. And with more on that story, let's go to Bob Dillner.
And actually, they're very not happy about that, Rick. But a lot of trouble for Kyle Fowler this weekend. I told you before the race began that they fixed the transmission in that car. They thought they were going to be able to retain their 6th starting spot. But right before we went green, 2 laps before we went green, the ARCA officials told them over the radio, you had to go to the rear of the field. And I asked Kevin Caldwell, how come? He said, you know what? Yesterday, ARCA officials told us if we rebuilt the transmission, it would be okay. But since they took the transmission out of the car, Kevin Caldwell being informed today that they had to go to the rear. So multiple problems for the 55 machine here today.
We've seen multiple issues on the racetrack here in Pocono. Maybe the triangle has something to do with it. Bermuda Triangle, Pocono Triangle. We'll be back for the restart here on Speed. Pace car about to make its way off the racetrack and back onto pit road. We're about to go back to green flag racing. Out in front of the field, the 25 of Max Gresham brings him to the green flag. We're back underway.
That's the 15 of John Blankenship. Remember the car that lost a tire. He is now 1 lap down.
On the restart, a good restart for Max Gresham. And Ty Dillon running 1 and 2. Here comes Chris Buescher in the 17.
There's a 0.8 of Casey Roderick. Casey was the fastest car in practice yesterday. Actually, Thursday.
Thursday. We've been here a while.
Friday.
The days run together. 41 of Ty Dillon, able to run a little lower line than that 25 of Max Gresham. Chris Buescher right on the back bumper of the 41 of Dillon.
Ty would like to get up there, at least lead a lap here. Get those 5 bonus points.
Because he needs them.
He needs them. He's only at, what,
370 point lead over Frank Kimmel in second right now.
Frank's being shown way back. Frank made a pit stop on that caution flag, topped that car up with fuel.
Max Gresham has a 4/10 of a second lead over Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Casey Roderick, and Chad Hockenbraw, your top 5.
Chris Buescher had a look at the inside of Ty Dillon there going down the front straightaway. Wasn't quite able to make the move. Now Casey Roderick pulls up side by side with Buescher in a battle for 3rd.
Roderick trying to impress on what may be his last ARCA start. Going to move and do some nationwide racing. And a very impressive pass on Chris Buescher, who looked strong early in this one. Chad Hockenbraw now looks to the inside in that number 58.
He goes down to the bottom. It's a little bit older pavement down there. Not quite as much grip, but it looks like he may be able to clear him, and he does.
Chad Hockenbraw moves in front of that 17 of Buescher, chasing after Casey Roderick. Bob Dillner has been waiting outside the infield care center. Is caught up with Buster Graham on that wild ride, Bob.
Buster, glad to see you're A-OK, but take us through that wild ride.
Wow. I don't know if you want to go through that ride. From what I could see, it was a yellow car. I don't know who it was. It looked like a tire might have went down. It hooked left really hard. And, I don't know who he hit. I didn't have anywhere to go but straight into somebody. And all I saw was cars just balling up, and kind of reminded me of Elliott Sadler when I hit the wall. That's exactly what I was thinking. I said this is going to be the same crash I couldn't believe it, and I don't know how I ended up over the wall. But I feel really bad for Mark Gibson, the whole team at Mark Gibson, and the batter's dream car. I think that was the first lap, and came out of it without a scratch. Man, I'd like to thank Chris at ISP Seats. I think that had a lot to do with not, getting hurt.
Did you realize you were over the wall without hitting it?
No, I didn't realize until I got out the car. I didn't realize I was over the wall. I still don't know how I got over it. I had my eyes closed when I hit it. I know that. But, man, I'm glad, I'm okay, and, hope everybody else is all right. I don't know who all was involved in that crash, but, hopefully they came out of it like me. I feel really bad for Mark Gibson's team. I mean, they worked so hard and come out and tear the car up in one lap. It's a bad deal.
Good to see Buster A-OK. But, guys, ironically, he used to be a hydroplane racer, came to racing because he thought it'd be a lot safer.
And he hydroplaned over the wall. How about the lead now goes to Ty Dillon, able to make an impressive pass on Max Graham.
Yeah, Max Gresham actually had a problem through the tunnel turn there. Went really wide, looked like maybe lost the front end. Had to chase that car up there. Let's take a look, Rick, at how this pass happened. It was caused by Max Gresham. Watch this now. He goes down in the corner here into the tunnel turn. Watch how wide he gets here. See how wide he gets? Has to get out of the throttle. And look at the momentum that Ty had. And he was able to clear him before he got to turn 3.
Using that momentum, Ty Dillon back out in front. Already, Ty Dillon has 5 wins on the season. 6 wins. Losing track, they're happening so quickly. The ARCA Racing Series 125 on Speed, your motorsports authority. Stay with us. Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new as Adam puts the world's fastest SUVs through the ringer, and John Sally sees if he can hack it on an Indy 500 pit crew. Don't miss the car show. That's Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed. Green flag racing continues. Ty Dillon out in front. A battle for the 5th spot now as Chad McCumbee moves to the inside of Chris Buescher.
Chad has put together a solid season this year. Bunch of only 2 races this year out of the top 10.
So Max Gresham loses the lead, and the battle for 5th continues. Chad McCumbee now making the pass on Buescher, takes the spot away. Buescher looks to the inside, do the crossover move, not going to be able to keep the momentum up. Down the front stretch they go. Drafting comes into play here at Pocono.
See, Ty Dillon going to go to the bottom of Mariev Defoe. Just about runs into Mariev, but it allows Max Gresham. Oh, he has to back off as well. Max had some momentum, but if he'd have been able to clear Mariev on the high side, he may have had enough momentum to go right back by Ty.
Looks like Mariev, when she felt that the 41 of Ty Dillon was down on the low side of the racetrack, started to move up, and that closed the door that Max Gresham thought was open.
Remember, Rick, everybody is required by the ARCA Racing Series to pit at least by lap 40. So there's no way that anybody could try to stretch this thing with enough caution laps without pitting. They will have to pit by lap number 40.
Chad Hockenbraugh making his way by Casey Roderick in that 08.
Just barely able to clear Casey. See Chad McCumbee now moving around the 12 car of Mariev Defoe coming off turn number 3.
We just heard from Buster Graham, who had come out of the infield care center. Everyone has been cleared from the infield care center, but they are taking the driver of the 7, Brandon Kidd, via ambulance to a local hospital to have further evaluation done.
Yeah, that was an incredible ride both those drivers took. I was glad to see Buster able to talk to Bob there coming out of the infield care center. And certainly, hopefully, Brandon Kidd is also okay.
The wobble there by Chad Hockenbraugh as he made his way through the turn, able to stay off the wall. These two tightening up front. Ty Dillon just in front of Max Gresham. Gresham running the lower line sideways through turn number 3.
And did not lose any momentum whatsoever, completely sideways. We've seen Max do such a great job in the K&N Pro Series East Division right here on Speed. A couple wins already this year. One of them at Gresham Motorsports Park.
He's got a little family advantage at that racetrack.
As well as winning that big K&N East race at Loudon just a few weeks ago.
2 rookie stripes on the back of those 2 race cars out in front of this field. Ty Dillon, unbelievably, already with 8 career wins to his name in just 16 starts.
That's about 50%.
That's right at it. He has put on a clinic. Hockenbraugh sideways once again in the 58.
Again, really sideways.
The gap now between 1 and 2 getting quite a bit further as Gresham still trying to chase after that 41. Here's a battle for the 8th spot. Tim George Jr. in the 31. He won here in June earlier this year.
That's Ryan Wilson in the 32 car, making his 2nd start of the year for Wintron Racing.
Ryan had a 21st place finish at Lucas Oil Raceway last week. Tim George Jr. grabbing his first career win in that 31 at Pocono earlier this year.
Really has put a solid season together. A lot of top 5 finishes in addition to that win here at Pocono in June. Last couple races has had some trouble. Got crashed as you see him move to the inside of Brian Wilson. Got crashed right at the start finish line on a restart last week at Lucas Oil Raceway.
It's amazing how much momentum plays into this racetrack, because we saw Ryan Wilson just moments ago pull away to about a 6-car length lead over Tim George Jr. And now Tim George Jr. is able to roll or reel in that 32 and battling for position, as we see on the left side of your screen. Also battling for position, Chad McCumbee and Chad Hockenbraugh.
It's a great battle for the 3rd spot. Remember, Chad is a former winner here in the ARCA Racing Series, as well as making his Cup debut here in a Petty Motorsports car here a few years ago.
So Ryan Wilson again able to pull away from Tim George Jr. on the right side of your screen. That's for 8th. On the left side, battling for 3rd, McCumbee clearing Hockenbraugh and able to pull away.
And Chad got big time loose there. Exiting the corner, you see Tim George now making the pass in that battle for 8th on Ryan Wilson, able to clear him before they get down to the tunnel turn.
Again, out in front, Ty Dillon now has a 0.8 of a second lead. Oh, and slower through the turn is the one of McCumbee. There's the gap between 1 and 2.
That's not much of a gap on this 2.5 mile racetrack here. About 4 or 5 car lengths. You know, Ty's mom and dad, Mike and Tina, celebrated their anniversary here yesterday.
Yeah, they were hoping an anniversary present would be Ty Dillon in Victory Lane, and maybe even Austin Dillon in Victory Lane, but all they got was rain.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll come a day later here for Ty Dillon. Austin had a great run in the ARCA race. I mean, I'm sorry, in the Camping World Truck Series race earlier with a top 5 finish earlier today.
Ty Dillon's led 8 of the 24 laps that have been run. We are closing in on the halfway point. Once this lap is completed, the race officially halfway.
Remember now, we've run green here. These guys are going to have to make a pit stop by lap number 40. We have some people, we know that Frank Kimmel made a pit stop there on lap number 12, so he, as well as Grant Enfinger, right now Grant Enfinger running 11th, he pitted. If these guys have to stop under green, that could really play havoc as we get down towards the end of this race.
It is officially past halfway. You see Max Gresham still chasing after that 41, trying to find a line where he can pick up some speed and close the gap between race leader Ty Dillon and his race car. Again, it's Dillon, Gresham, McCumbee up to 3rd. Chad Hockenbraugh running 4th. Chris Buescher rounding out our top 5. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. The lead heating up now as Gresham closing the gap on that 41 of Ty Dillon.
And both of these drivers hoping for a caution flag. Casey Roderick gave up a top 10 spot to make his way down to pit road this last lap.
James Harvey Hilton in the 48 stopped. That's off the Long Pond straightaway on the backstretch.
There's that caution that these guys desperately needed. Casey Roderick now will find himself a lap down after making that green flag pit stop, but this will give all these drivers that have not been to pit road yet an opportunity to come in, and this will qualify and be enough fuel to get to the end.
So problems for the 48 car. He pulls down into the grass. Might be a little difficult to get that car out of the grass because of all of the rain. Here are problems for the 1. Smoke coming out of the back of the 1 of Chad McCumbee. Again, McCumbee 3rd in this race when the caution flew.
Yeah, a lot of smoke out of that 1 car. What a tough break for Chad McCumbee. Looked like he has a great race car here.
Smoke rolling out from underneath the one of McCumbee. Trying to figure out what the issue is with that race car as he pulls down to the bottom of the racetrack and allowing the other cars to go by.
The tires are up on that car. It's certainly not a tire situation. You can see the smoke coming out just behind the front fascia on that car on the underneath side.
It didn't look as though it was coming out of the pipes on the right side. It looked like it was coming right out from underneath the back of the race car.
I'm sure he'll bring that car to pit road, and he's going to drive on the access road just in case that car is leaking any fluids. Keep the racetrack clean.
Sound as it was going by our camera there sounded like it was still running.
Still running. But certainly that's going to be too much smoke for the ARCA officials to leave on the racetrack. We're going to have a lucky dog here, and it's going to be Brian Caltrider. He's going to get a lap back, and that'll give us about 20 cars on the lead lap here.
Nick Igdalski in the 23 scored in the 19th position. Last car on the lead lap, and then as you mentioned, the Aaron's lucky dog going to Caltrider, so he will be on the lead lap. That will put 20 cars on the lead lap. Here come your race leaders onto pit road. Ty Dillon led by Ty Dillon leads Max Gresham onto pit road, and the field follows him. Bob.
Ty Dillon pulls into his pit stall. The complaint from Ty, a little tight in the center and loose off, so they want to fix this with air pressure here. They're working around the right side, actually get the air hose stuck a little bit on the front nose of that car, but it will be a 4-tire stop for the leader of your race, Ty Dillon. Now, as far as Max Gresham, the same complaint for him as well. Just a little bit tight in the center, so they're going to try to loosen up that car just a little bit. A 4-tire stop for Max Gresham as well. Chad Hockenbrough, he's away as well.
Yeah, Hockenbrough not as good a stop. It looked like quite a few cars were able to get by him. So the 41 and 25 are able to come by and off of pit road in their same spots. Big move for Tom Hessert, gaining 10 positions on pit road.
Pit strategy there, probably more than likely for Tom Hessert.
23 of Nick Igdalski, also pit strategy, gaining 10 spots. More from the ARCA Racing Series 125 here on Speed when we come back. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Ansell for over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. By CreditReport.com. See your credit score in seconds. CreditReport.com. We have passed the halfway point. We want to take a look at our Messina Wildlife mid-race recap.
Almost 24 hours later, the start of this race with Max Gresham up front.
Ty Dillon, Max Gresham battling for the lead. Lap 2. Tom Birdie in the 35 makes the hard left turn. Look at the 59. Buster Graham over the wall in the infield.
Several cars involved in this incident. Brandon Kidd, the 7 car, also launched over that access road. Just barely clips the top of that 3-tiered guardrail.
Saw Buster Graham climbing out of his race car. We talked to him after he got out of the infield care center. Under caution, the 15 of John Blankenship loses the left rear wheel. So he makes the U-turn, goes back onto pit road. They put another one back on.
Couldn't keep up with that tire.
Then Ty Dillon with the momentum, catching Max Gresham. Gresham not able to hold him off. Dillon takes over the lead as they go into turn 3.
Caution number 2 comes out for James Harvey Hilton, losing power over on the backside of the racetrack. Has to coast over into the grass. Was not able to get back to pit road.
That has brought out our second caution of the day. We've completed 30 of the 50 scheduled laps. Ty Dillon out in that have been an hour laps. Chad McCumbee, we showed the smoke coming out from behind that race car just as the caution came out, and it continues to plague that team.
Jed was running third when the caution flag came out and that car started smoking. There's Kyle Fowler, had to go to the back of the pack because of a transmission change at the very start, and then was penalized for jumping the restart.
You say jumping, and I always think of Buster Graham now.
Yeah,
he jumped the
infield
wall. Bob.
Frank Kimmel, we thought he was going to be in very good shape, but not in good shape because he had 2 loose lug nuts on that machine after that earlier pit stop. That's why he had to come back down pit road. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Green flag back in the air. Ty Dillon, Max Gresham 1 and 2 as they cross the stripe.
That's the 08 of Casey Roderick. Gets in between those 2 cars. Remember, he made a green flag pit stop. Right now, just 1 lap down.
Field 2 and 3 wide as they work through one of problems with Casey Roderick into the wall coming through turn number 1. The field trying to slow behind him.
Hard contact to the outside wall for Casey Roderick. Not sure if there was contact down there. Remember, he got in between Ty Dillon and Max Gresham.
Charged hard into turn number 1. That could have caused some problems for him. And so Roderick's day done early.
Remember, a few laps ago he'd put tires on, so he may have had some buildup on these tires. Watch as they go down in turn number 1. You see him. He's the second car in line there. Max goes down to the inside.
Max caught him.
Max came up the racetrack a little bit, caught him in the left rear corner. Max was very fortunate to get by before Casey backed into that outside wall.
Take another look at that at speed.
See, Max just moves up about a half a lane. Casey was there. He was trying to stay in position to be able to get inside of Ty Dillon and try to get his lap back or be in position for the lucky dog. But unfortunately, it's going to be a short day. A little bit of a tire rub where the contact was made with Max Gresham and Casey Roderick.
Bob.
Well, as you could probably tell, Casey Roderick not happy at all inside that race car. The team very frustrated, came over the radio and said, hey, Max Gresham just rode up all into us. Don't worry about it, Casey. Wasn't your fault. And Casey very frustrated inside that race car right now.
Yeah, situation where trying to get his lap back, was running hard into turn number 1. Had already cleared the 25 of Gresham. Gresham goes hard into 1 as well, but slides up the racetrack and catches him.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it was just enough. This racetrack is really rough down there. It's hard to maintain the line, and unfortunately Max Gresham wasn't able to do that. Got into the 08 of Casey Roderick and just narrowly avoided him on the high side, but he does have a tire rub from that right front fender where he got into Casey.
So Gresham will probably have to make his way back down onto pit road to have that looked at. The team might do that, yes.
You see the damage right there in that right front fender.
Giving up all that track position would be very bad for Max Gresham and his hopes of getting to victory lane here at Pocono. Ty Dillon out in front once again. The wild ride for Casey Roderick slams him into the outside wall coming out of turn number 1. Welcome back. The ARCA Racing Series 125 for the 13th race, and there's Max Gresham making his way onto pit road. Just 18 laps to go. Bob, what's happening?
Well, they were talking about coming down pit road, taking a look at that right front fender, and while they're at it, possibly changing both right side tires just as a preventative measure. But Max Gresham obviously very disappointed with this, but calling the shots right now is Billy Venturini. As you can see, the jackman goes to the right side of that car. They will indeed change those tires, move that fender away just a little bit so they don't get a rub. You can see him banging it out right there. A good move, a good call by the 25 machine to be safe out here on this racetrack.
Yeah, Bob, they might as well take their time because he's going to lose all his track position. Might as well make sure that fender's just right. These straightaways are so long here. Aerodynamics come into play, so you don't want to butcher that thing up where it's going to affect that car down the straightaway as well as rub when you get down to the corners.
Again, Max Gresham, teammates of Kyle Fowler. They've got brake issues on that 55, it looks like.
Boy, nothing's gone right for that team, it seems like. Had a great qualifying effort, qualifying 6th, but we talked about having to go to the back of the pack because of the transmission change.
We see Max Gresham coming off of pit road after they've done some work on the right front fender of that race car. Again, the contact between he And the 08 of Casey Roderick bringing out this caution. As we have just 17 laps of racing remaining from Pocono. A lot of damage to the back of that 08.
We have our leader, Ty Dillon. Let's see if we can establish some radio contact with him. Hey, Ty Dillon, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You have a copy?
Yes, sir.
You guys had a pretty good battle going with Max Gresham, and then he ended up getting into the 08 car and had to come to pit road to repair the damage to the right front fender. Who do you have left to race now?
So we're just racing ourselves right here. We got a really good 41 Chevy. Guys did such a great job building it. Got things flashing on the boys. It's been awesome. Hopefully we can go for 3 in a row and just add some points here to our lead. Just really excited to get this race going.
I know we were standing with you during qualifying when Max was able to go out there and just barely edge you by 11 thousandths of a second. A win here, maybe be a little redemption for that.
Yeah, you know, we knew we had a fast car. We didn't have to wait for him to come back to us there at the end of the race. It's been really good. So we'll just have to see what we got. I know he'll be fast coming back to the field, but we got a really good fast Chevy.
This would be a pretty good anniversary present for your mom and dad if you get a win here, huh?
Glad to have them both here, and hopefully we can win it for them.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
2x2 once again. The field. Lap down cars will be on the inside. So Ty Dillon will be in front of Tom Hessert, Rob Brent, Chris Buescher, and Chad Hockenbraugh. They're your top 5. Tim George Jr. running in the 6th spot now. Nick Igdalski, Ryan Wilson, Sean Corr, Grant Infinger, your top 10.
Just a few laps to go here. We will restart this race with 15 laps to go. There's Buster Graham's 59 car that somehow got over there and launched over that guardrail.
Yeah, if you're wondering how that got there, very early in the race.
Buster Graham's not even sure how he got there.
He is going to want to watch this over and over. That car jumped the guardrail. That guardrail almost 4 feet high.
Bob was talking to him when he left the infield care center, and Buster kept talking about hitting the wall, hitting the wall. He really just barely touched the top of the wall. There's Brandon Kidd, the 7 car, also gone for a ride. He's been transported to a local hospital for further observation.
Sun coming out here in Pocono. We haven't seen that for about 24 hours. Pace car will make the hard left turn onto pit road, putting the field back in the hands of Ty Dillon. We'll see how Tom Hessert driving that 52 does. Green flag goes back in the air.
Got to be careful up through the gears, not miss any gears here. Was that Max Gresham that pulled out a line there?
Gresham looked like he shot to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to avoid someone in front.
Yeah, I don't think he passed anybody, just moved to the inside.
Ty Dillon with a great restart. Able to put 4 car lengths between himself and Tom Hessert on this first restart under the sun. Rob Brent running 3rd. Chris Buescher 4th. Chad Hockenbraugh in 5th.
Tim George Jr. holding down the 6th spot. Nick Igdalski with a great run here, running 7th right now.
Field spreading out early after this restart. Just 15 laps remaining. Tim George Jr. went to victory lane here in June, trying to move up toward the front.
Chris Buescher was able to get by Rob Brent to take over the 3rd spot. There's problems. Max Gresham right in the middle of that, just barely avoids Michael Levine in the 95 car.
Michael Levine sideways coming out of turn number 3, bringing out the caution once again.
Max Gresham was right behind that 95 car. Not sure if there was any contact or did Levine got sideways before Max got there.
Take a look once again. What just happened working through 3?
This is coming off turn number 3. You see 95 on the outside. That's Nick Igdalski, the 23 on the inside. Here comes Max, who contact from the 23 of Igdalski.
Nick Igdalski gets into the 95. That spins him around, and Gresham able to narrowly avoid that 95.
What? Look at Max. You can't even see Max right now. Just barely avoids Levine. Nice job by Max avoiding him, and a nice job by a lot of guys avoiding that incident. Turns into a single car incident for Michael Levine.
So Michael Levine makes his way onto pit road, and behind the wall He'll do extensive work if they want to get that car back out on the racetrack. Take another look at what happened from a different perspective.
See the 23. Nick Adolski is going to move up the racetrack. You see Frank Kimmel, the 44, going by on the inside. Watch Max, though, just barely able to avoid the 95 car.
So Ty Dillon, Tom Hessert running 1-2. Chris Buescher, Tim George Jr. and Rob Brent, your top 5, getting ready for the restart.
You see, we're getting a report that the ARCA officials are looking at the 25 for aggressive driving. He's not the one that made contact with the 95. It was the 23 that made contact with the 95. Max absolutely did nothing wrong in this situation right here.
Yeah, did actually great driving to avoid that 95. Had to check up.
We're getting a report now that the ARCA racing officials saw this replay once again. That replay almost looked like it could have been a potential bump from the 25. It wasn't. ARCA racing officials looking at this video replay here decided not to penalize the 25. Great call by the officials.
So Max Gresham, again, running second, got into Casey Roderick, had to come onto pit road. Now let's see if he can make his way through the back of the field. Wednesday night on Speed. Don't miss an all-new episode of Dumbest Stuff on Wheels. It's the most outrageous and downright stupidest situations, crashes, and mishaps ever caught on video. This is seriously funny stuff, though, so you don't want to miss Dumbest Stuff on Wheels Wednesday night at 8 Eastern only on Speed.
We have a little bit of a preview here of some of the things that have happened in this race for that show.
Yeah, and the reason why we're under caution, the most recent one, coming through turn number 3. Nick Igdalski in the 23 gets into the 95 of Michael Levine. He goes sideways, and Max Gresham barely misses that 95.
There's another view of it. You see that Nick Igdalski can't keep the front end down in that car, slides up the racetrack into Michael Levine. Nothing Michael Levine could do about that. Hard contact with a safer barrier exiting turn number 3.
Closing in on the final 10 laps of racing from Pocono for the ARCA Racing Series. Come back, join us right here on Speed. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Raceway. Getting ready for the restart here of the ARCA Racing Series 125. Out in front of the field, it's Ty Dillon. Tom Hessert running in the second spot. Bob?
And it's been a battle all weekend long for Tom Hessert. Had some engine difficulty there actually in practice. Changed that engine, and then they missed getting in line for pre-qualifying tech early. So they've been battling track position all day long, and that's why they took 2 tires on that pit stop. I just asked his crew chief, John Monson, what do you think of the move? He says, we'll find out here shortly, but we needed to pass some people and pass some people quick if we have any shot at the victory, and that was the easiest way to do it.
Bob, you're exactly right. The easiest place to pass somebody is on pit road. Good call by John Monson.
Green flag back in the air. Tom Hessert chasing after that 41 of Ty Dillon as they rocket down this front stretch.
Chris Buescher, the 17 car, goes around the outside of Tom Hessert. Remember, Chris Buescher with 4 tires. Tom Hessert gained 10 spots by changing 2 tires. Here comes Tim George, now right behind the 52 of Tom Hessert.
Tom Hessert drops back to 3rd. Buescher now, the man on the move, trying to reel in the 41 of Ty Dillon.
Here goes Tim George. Remember, he won this race in June. He moves up to the 3rd spot within striking distance.
Ty Dillon talked about this race car. A very good one. Has been to victory lane twice. Michigan and Iowa, he took his race car to victory lane, now trying to make it 3 in a row for the car and for this season.
The Grant Enfinger able to make a pass on Rob Brent for the 5th spot.
There's Frank Kimmel in the 44. He's got the 25 of Max Gresham moving to the outside. A little smoke now coming out.
Is that the 68 car, Will Kimmel, that's smoking?
Looks like Will Kimmel with some smoke coming out of the 68.
Gresham goes real high there, loses a little bit of momentum there. Frank able to pull out in front of him. You see a little bit of damage to Will's car, the left rear quarter panel. Maybe a little bit of a tire up. That's what it looks like. Does not look like engine smoke. Looks like a tire rub on the left rear for Will.
And a battle for second. Tim George Jr. makes the pass on Chris Buescher. Now Tim George Jr. trying to reel in his teammate.
Two RCR cars now running 1-2. See the battle continuing on the right side of your screen. Max Gresham goes to the outside of Will Kimmel. That's the 82 of Sean Corr. Will driving by him.
Crossing the start-finish line. 9 laps of racing to go. Tim George Jr. won the rain-shortened race earlier this year. Now he wants to go the full distance and get back to victory lane.
3 wide racing and Max Gresham on the inside of Sean Corr. Max moves up inside the top 10 now.
Down at the bottom, Ryan Wilson in the 32. Currently 20 cars on the lead lap. Sean Corr in the 82 running 10th.
He pulls back out in front of Ryan Wilson. Drives down in front of him through the tunnel turn. There's Will Kimmel, the 68 on the outside. His Uncle Frank now side by side with Will.
The entire rub on that 68, that left rear wheel.
Frank able to make the pass. Will's fighting back on the outside. Now Frank has it. He gets a little bit sideways up off of 3.
Kimmel and Kimmel side by side. Frank on the outside, Will on the inside.
Who wins this battle down into turn number 1? See who drives it down in turn number 1. Frank's motioning for Will. Said, let me go.
Fighting for the 11th position. Frank runs higher, loose, bobbles once again. Will working the bottom of the racetrack. Comes out onto Long Pond straightaway. Falls in behind his uncle. A very quick break, and we'll be back for the final 8 laps of racing here at Pocono. Ty Dillon out front. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Ty Dillon still out in front of Tim George Jr. He's got a 1.1 second lead with less than 7 laps of racing to go.
What a great day potentially for RCR, a possible 1-2 finish. Remember, we have Max Gresham trying to fight his way back. I think right now Max Gresham is so far back he needs a caution flag to bunch the field back up. Right now he's being shown in the 8th spot.
Bob Dylan or Chris Buescher was holding on to that 2nd spot, but Tim George Jr. got by. Is there problems?
No problems whatsoever. Just way too tight for Chris Buescher. In fact, he said, I felt like a hero right after that restart, but honestly, as soon as the tires came up to temperature and heated up a little bit, that car went right back to his tight condition, which that team has been fighting all weekend long.
Working their way through long sweeping turn 3 here at Pocono. Again, a very flat turn 3, 6 degrees of banking. They come out of 3. Max Gresham moving up toward the front still.
Max Gresham trying to get by the 6 of Rob Brent for the 7th spot. There's Grant Enfinger right now. He holds down the 5th spot right behind Tom Hessert, the 52 Federated car in 4th.
And Tom Hessert restarted in the 2nd spot on the last caution. Ty Dillon was able to pull out, put a good distance between himself and Hessert. Then Tim George Jr. and Chris Buescher have been able to get by Hessert, so he's dropped back to the 4th position.
Tom's finished 5th 3 times this year. That's his best. He could have his best finish of the year. Remember, he won at Iowa last year for his only career win here in ARCA Racing Series.
Tom Hessert was battling for the championship. It was a 3-man race last year.
There's Max Gresham, pulls up behind Chad Hockenbraw in the Tasty Apple, number 58. That's a battle for the 6th spot. Max is coming, but he's going to run out of time.
We talked to Chad's dad and talked about, how many apples they do over there, and he said, we do a lot. He said, like some ridiculous amount, 30,000 gallons of apple cider a day.
360,000 apples a day.
Yeah, unbelievable. Chad Hockenbraw trying to hold off that 25 of Max Gresham. Gresham making the move to the inside.
11 laps ago, Max Gresham was 18th on the racetrack. Now he just took over the 6th spot.
Just moved into 6th. Bob.
I'll tell you what, really interesting, listening to the radio of both RCR cars. Ty Dillon, his dad, Mike, is on the radio with him right now, telling him everything that he's doing on the racetrack, whether it's right or wrong. In fact, he just warned Ty that Tim George Jr., his teammate, is catching him a little bit. I switched over to the 31 car, and they said, you know what, Tim, you were the fastest car on the racetrack. We don't care if he's your teammate. Go get him. We can win this race and win 2 in a row at Pocono.
Bob, Tim George was a quarter of a second faster than Ty Dillon that last time.
Ty Dillon out in front of the field. Tim George Jr. just 0.7 of a second back. Can he close that gap? 4 laps to go. The gap between your leader and second, just 0.7 of a second. Ty Dillon in front of Tim George Jr. When they come by the stripe this time, it'll be 3 laps of racing remaining.
See how much higher Ty is running in that corner than Tim is. Looked like Tim gains through turn number 3.
The momentum down the long front stretch. Did he close any on that gap? No, actually dropped back 0.03 of a second. Very close lap times for the top 2.
It's a battle for the 10th spot. Frank Kimmel able to get by Sean Corr in that battle for 10th. Now Sean's going to cross back over and try to drive back by him, coming down the front straightaway.
Sean Corr on the inside, the preferred line as they go into turn number 1. Kimmel drops in behind him. Kimmel trying the crossover move through 1. Looks to the inside of Sean Corr as they go down the Long Pond straightaway.
Sean drove it down in the corner a little bit harder than Frank. Frank backed off, said, okay, I'm going to try to get him off the corner. They have James Hilton here. They're going to have to avoid him as they get to the tunnel.
James Hilton backs off as the 2 go side by side through the tunnel turn. Sean Corr edges out in front of that 44 of Kimmel as they rocket down the straightaway into turn number 3.
There's 3 laps to go right now, coming down to 2 to go.
2 to go as the leader crosses the stripe. Ty Dillon, Tim George Jr. They head into turn number 1. Again, 0.7 of a second separate 1 and 2. Ty Dillon trying to hold on for win number 7 of the 2011 season.
Tim George was just a tick faster than Ty Dillon this last lap. Still showing about that same 0.7 of a second behind.
There's the gap between the 41 and the 31.
Lap cars staying out of the way. Ty able to get by both lap cars without any issues.
Milkaduna in the 63. She's running right in the preferred line as they work their way through 3. This time by Ty Dillon will once again see the white flag. He'll be the first one to see the white flag. Can he go 2.5 miles, hold off his teammate for the win?
Long way to go here, 2.5 miles.
Whatever happens, Richard Childress Racing has to be extremely excited about their performance at this racetrack. The win earlier in June by Tim George Jr. Now, both cars running 1 and 2 here in this one.
Ty finished 4th in that first race here in June.
So a top 5 finish for both cars in June through the tunnel turn. Ty Dillon still with a lead on his teammate Tim George Jr. working their way through the slower lap traffic. All Tim George Jr. needs is a bobble out of the 41. We haven't seen one this year out of that 41 team. Ty Dillon working his way through 3, coming onto the front stretch. Ty Dillon, his 9th career win in the ARCA Racing Series.
That's a battle for the 5th spot. Max Gresham was able to get to 6th, drove up on the rear bumper at Grant Enfinger for 5th, not able to get by him.
Ryan Wilson in 9th. Frank Kimmel able to finish with a top 10 finish here at Pocono. That will be disappointing for the Kimmel family, as once again Flash, crew chief for Ty Dillon, celebrating. Again, the 7th win already this season. He has won over 50% of the races that he started.
That is amazing. What an incredible season, Ty. At such a young age, too. So much potential for that team and that family and that young man right there.
Ty Dillon, just 18 years old, already a dominant performance in 2011. He'll go back to victory lane once again. That's 3 in a row now for Ty Dillon. He won at Iowa. He won at Lucas Oil Raceway, and now the victory here at Pocono. Let's go back trackside to Bob Dillner.
Scott Nassett, crew chief for Ty Dillon, 3 in a row. What does that mean?
It's pretty spectacular. It's a great feeling. Ty Dillon's done a great job. All the guys back at the shop. This is just a telltale tale of what it takes to win races. Body shop, fab shop, body hangers, engine shop, BCR engines. It takes a whole team effort here, and that's what it is at RCR.
That other guy behind you, I heard you on the radio. You were reminding Ty, hey, he's a little bit quicker than you. How worried were you about Tim George Jr.?
Well, I know Ty. I always preach to him to save his stuff. So I had a feeling that he had a little left. So he does a heck of a job for us.
I'll tell you what, these guys are celebrating the 3rd straight victory here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Ty Dillon coming into this race had a 370-point lead over Frank Kimmel. And Kimmel finishing in the 10th spot. Ty winning this race. That lead now has grown from 370 over Kimmel to actually 410 over the 36 of Grant Enfinger.
Dominant season for Ty Dillon and that RCR team.
He knows how to celebrate. We'll hear from him next. Celebration for Ty Dillon once again. He's getting very good at burnouts. This is 7th win of the 2011 season, and a dominant season it has been. Let's hear from the winning driver. He's in victory lane with Bob Dillner.
And Ty Dillon still inside that race car. He's about to climb out for the 3rd straight time here in victory lane in ARCA Racing Series competition. Here he is, folks. He gets a shower down here in this makeshift victory lane on a very busy day here at Pocono Raceway. The entire, oh man, even I got a little bit wet. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Wow, these guys are awesome, man. 3 in a row, our 7th win of the year. Man, look at this guy right here, Flash. He's done an awesome job. This 41 Chevy was awesome all weekend, like it's been all year. I can't believe we've just had such great race cars. Gotta thank Chevrolet and Chosen to Pediatric Home on the car. My grandfather for giving me the opportunity. This is awesome. Happy anniversary to my mom and dad. This is really cool, and wow, this is awesome. I'm so excited.
Were you worried about your teammate there in the closing laps?
Yeah, I was. I mean, that was our main conversation on the radio. Those last 10 laps is where Tim was. He's doing awesome this year. He's really good fast here, and I knew he'd be coming by sometime in the race, and he was coming fast. But our 41 Chevy was really good.
Congratulations to you. Let's grab Richard here, Grandpa. I want to know, how proud are you of that boy?
I'm very proud of him. You know, he does such a great job. He's really smooth, and just proud of this whole team. You know, it was really cool. You know, I'd like to thank all our forces, and also we're thinking about the losses we had in Afghanistan.
Tim George Jr., the teammate down here as well, talking to Ty Dillon. A slap on the back to Tim George. And Tim, I want to know, you were fast there at the end. Did you think you can get him?
Yeah, they kept telling me I was the fastest car on track, which was awesome. Unfortunately, we had a little lap traffic, and I kept waiting for my teammate Ty Dillon to make a mistake here, and it never happened. So, you know, they went to victory lane, but that's the way we do it at RCR. That's the way we want to do it. 1-2 finish. Thank you to Applebee's, and go grab a NOS on your way to Applebee's and maybe drink a Bud while you're there.
Wow, that sounds like a lot to drink, but an RCR sweep here at the Pocono Triangle.
Yeah. You throw both those guys in victory lane. That's the way it was in June, where you had Tim George Jr. with the win here. Now finishing the sweep of Pocono is RCR as they get the win with Ty Dillon this time. Take a look at the unofficial point standings. Through this, the 13th race of a 19-race season, 410 points now separating Grant Enfinger and Ty Dillon.
As you mentioned, Frank Kimmel came in here 2nd points and was able to get surpassed by Grant Enfinger, just 15 points now behind Grant Enfinger is Frank Kimmel. But what a huge lead for Ty Dillon.
Dominant performance. Chris Buescher, Tim George Jr., both in the top 5 in our point standings.
Great pit call by Tom Hessert's crew chief John Monson to do 2 tires, get him some track position. Ends up with a top 5 finish, finishes 4th.
Let's head back down trackside to Bob Dillner.
Down here in victory lane, still I'm going to talk to another Dillon. Austin, want to grab a hold of you. Your brother did you one up here today. How about that?
He's really impressive. He's done a great job this year, and these ARCA cars, RCR's building are great. All the equipment we've got this year has been awesome. So I just want to thank my grandfather, all the guys back at the body shop and the engine shop for everything they do. The ECR engines, they were really helping today. It was pretty cool. Congratulations to Tim George for getting second, too. That was awesome.
Who's the better brother as far as drivers go now?
I'm the better brother. Come on, man. I ain't going to let you get that one over on me. No, we both have fun. We're so competitive on each other. I can't wait to race with him. I think we'll have a lot of success in the future.
A fifth-place run for this guy in the Camping World Truck Series race here today at Pocono.
Pretty good weekend for the Dillon family.
Very good weekend. Talked about it being their parents' anniversary, so good celebration for the entire family. Here at Pocono, it happened a day later than what was expected, but Ty Dillon, the dominant car, comes home your winner.
If the engine is the heart of the race car, the ignition box is certainly the central nervous system. Mallory has been with ARCA since 2005, and Nick Ramey has been with Roush Engines for a really long time. I want to know how vital this box is to this series.
This system is so reliable, dependable. It basically acts as a restrictor plate for the system, governing it down to 8,800 RPM. Very reliable, have never had any failures. We basically at any given time run a quarter of the field here. I love it. Best system I've ever seen.
Nearly 1 million miles of ARCA Racing Series competition and not a single failure.
You know, Bob, that was a great report. And Rick, these engines were approaching 10,000 RPMs a few years ago. The ARCA Racing Series officials recognized that that was going to be very, very expensive because you have a lot of breakage and maintenance when you turn that many RPMs. They said, okay, we need to figure out a way to limit their RPMs. Mallory came up with a system through those boxes that they limit their RPMs to 8,800 RPMs. No matter what happens, no matter what rear end gear you put in the car, it's only going to turn 8,800 RPMs and then save the competitors a lot of money over the years.
And one of the owners in this series, Ken Schrader, his driver, Tom Hessert, stand by with Bob.
That's right, Tom Hessert here, Chris Buescher as well. And Chris, let's start with you. A third-place run here today. Man, you really jumped on him on that last restart, but just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, you know, we were real close. We had a good qualifying run, and then after practice, we were a little tight and didn't really know what we had, but we made a good call on the pit road there. Gary Rua made some wholesale changes and really got us a lot closer to where we needed to be. So it was a good run, and hopefully we can improve on it next week.
A second and a third here. Are you satisfied with that here at Pocono this year?
Not really. You always want to win, and you know, it's just tough. We're trying everything we can, and it just seems like we just need that little extra.
He's going to get that extra and get back to victory lane here in the ARCA Racing Series. But how about this guy, Tom Hessert? You passed a lot of cars, especially on pit road today.
Yeah, we Federated Auto Parts car was really good today, but and yesterday in practice. But we had to change the motor before qualifying and missed the inline time, so we had to tag the tail and start 41st. But the car, we had a good enough race car, but when you're down all that track position, you kind of got to gamble. And John brought us in, did some tricky pit work, and got us out there with 2 tires at the end, and you know, lost a couple spots, but it was a really good day for us, especially considering where we started.
Did the 2 tires make that much of a difference there? Because I saw on the restart you were able to stay with them, but then you lost those couple spots.
Well, I could. They were left sides we ran the whole race, and you know, they were definitely giving up a little bit. Definitely 4 tires is always better than 2, but to hang on and do what we could there and keep those guys behind us, especially Grant. But no, it was good. We had a good day.
Still Tom Hessert, another top 5 run here in ARCA.
Take a look at our unofficial results. Ty Dillon back on top of the chart here, which he's been there pretty much the entire season.
Yeah, very, very maybe after the second or third race of the year, he's been up top here, but huge lead right now. But what a great RCR day with 1-2 finish. But Chris Buescher continues to impress. Young driver, another top 5. Tom Hessert, Grant Enfinger with a good top 5. Max Gresham, I'm sure he's going to leave here saying, what could have been here if I hadn't got into the 08 of Casey Roderick, had to damage that right front fender, had to come to pit road to repair that. He may have had something for those RCR guys. We'll never know now.
Frank Kimmel, a top 10 finish. His nephew, Will Kimmel, just outside the top 10 and 12. Those two are racing for position around the racetrack. The 12 of Marianne Defoe finishing in 13th position.
See, Bobby Gerhardt, our Daytona winner, ends up with a top 20 finish.
Chad McCumbee, problems with that race car, finishes in the 26th position.
Back in 24th, Kyle Fowler had a great qualifying effort in 6th, had problems from the very start, had to go to the back because of a transmission change, and then was black flag for jumping on the restart. But tough day for Kyle Fowler.
Yeah, you talk about tough starts. How about Buster Graham and Brandon Kidd? Those two flying through the air at the start of this race. An amazing start. Vinny Chastain rounding out the field of 41 here. They're working on getting Buster Graham's car out of the infield now. Again, that happened just after the start of this race. And that's, I'm sure, video that will be seen over and over and over when you talk about wild rides in racing. We'll be back with more from Pocono right after this. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Messina Wildlife Management. Stop animal damage with Messina Wildlife Management. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Let's go trackside to Bob Dillner.
A great race car today for Max Gresham. But, Max, I want to ask you, are you asking yourself, what if?
Yeah, you know, we had the best car out here today. I truly believe, you know, the Pennsylvania Motorsports is great here, and we just, you know, I had a little bit of inexperience that caught up with me there, and, you know, it's a learning time for me out here at Pocono Raceway, and, you know, when I come back next year or next time, whenever it may be, you know, I'll be a little bit smarter, and I won't make that same mistake on a restart like that, and, you know, I apologize to Casey Roderick. That was not his fault. It's just drove in over my head, and unfortunate he paid the price. So, you know, rough day for us, but, hey, we'll be back.
Spoken like a very mature 18-year-old.
Yeah, he finishes 6th in this race, so not a bad finish for Max Gresham. Take a look at our unofficial point standings. Again, a dominant season already for Ty Dillon. Grant Enfinger's been able to move up a spot in front of Frank Kimmel, taking over that 2nd position and giving chase to Ty Dillon, but it's very difficult to gain anything on a guy who continues to win race after race.
You take Ty out of there, and we have a heck of a point battle. We have 20 points from 2nd through 4th, but Ty is making a shambles of it this year.
Look at the Casio Commando race summary. Ty Dillon, after he was able to get by Max Gresham, led the final 34 laps here in this race. Pace was slowed down 4 times, 20 laps under caution, 10 cars ending up out of the race. Big smile always on the face of young Ty Dillon. Buster Graham, not a big smile on his face. He actually had a wild ride that ended up in the infield and actually inside of the guardrail here. Drop the green flag, battling Max Gresham, Ty Dillon. This is that wild ride we talked about.
There's Buster going over the guardrail. There's John Blankenship losing a tire, and there comes Ty Dillon with a pass for the lead on Max Gresham.
Wild ride for a few. Not so bad for that 41 of Ty Dillon. Once again, he heads to victory lane. Ty Dillon dominant in the ARCA Racing Series.